Now let's talk about real estate. For cherries, location isn't just important, it's everything. The United States has a few prime neighborhoods for these stone fruits, what I like to call the cherry belts. The heavyweight champion is the Pacific Northwest. States like Washington, Oregon, and even a bit of Idaho are the undisputed kings of the sweet cherry world. Why? They've got the perfect combination of factors. They get warm, sunny days for sugar development and cool nights that help the fruit firm up and develop that beautiful, deep color we all love. It's a cherry paradise, a 5-star resort for fruit. But don't count out the Midwest. Michigan in particular is the tart cherry capital of the country, producing the majority of the Montmorency cherries that end up in your favorite pies and preserves. The secret here is the lake effect. The massive Great Lakes act like a giant climate control system. They moderate the temperatures, preventing the delicate cherry blossoms from getting zapped by a late spring frost. This protective blanket allows the tart cherries to thrive, giving them the perfect environment to grow plump and, well, tart. It's a beautiful example of geography giving agriculture a helping hand. Then you have other players in the game like California and Utah, which also have climates conducive to cherry cultivation. California's Central Valley gets the intense heat and sun needed to produce early-season sweet cherries, often the first to hit the market each year. The key ingredient for all these regions is a period of winter chill. Cherry trees, you see, need to go dormant. They require a certain number of chill hours below about 45 degrees Fahrenheit to properly reset for the next growing season. Without this cold nap, they won't produce flowers, and no flowers means no cherries. It's that simple. So, when you bite into a juicy cherry, you're not just tasting a fruit, you're tasting a place. You're tasting the sunny days of Washington, the cool nights of Oregon, or the protective lake effect of Michigan. Each region puts its unique signature on the fruit, a result of a delicate dance between temperature, sunlight, and water. Understanding this geography is the first step to appreciating the incredible journey this little red orb takes. It's a story of climate, location, and the specific needs of a very particular and very delicious fruit. Alright, let's get our hands dirty. Before a single cherry tree goes into the ground, a farmer has to become a soil scientist. You can't just stick a tree anywhere and hope for the best. That's a recipe for disappointment, and we don't do disappointment in my kitchen or in the orchard. Cherry trees are picky eaters. They demand soil that is well drained. Imagine wearing wet socks all day. That's what it's like for a cherry tree root in waterlogged soil. It leads to root rot, a nasty business that can kill the tree. So farmers look for sandy loam or gravelly soils that let water pass through easily. To get the soil just right, farmers do a lot of prep work. This isn't just about digging a hole. It's about creating the perfect home for that tree for the next several decades. They start by taking soil samples and sending them to a lab. This is like getting a blood test for the earth. The report comes back telling the farmer about the pH level and what nutrients are present or missing. Cherries prefer a slightly acidic to neutral pH, somewhere between 6.0 and 7.0. If the soil is too acidic or too alkaline, the tree can't absorb the nutrients it needs, even if they're right there. Once the farmer has the soil analysis, the real work begins. They might need to add lime to raise the pH or sulfur to lower it. They will likely till the soil deep, a process called ripping, to break up any compacted layers that could block root growth. This allows the future roots to spread out wide and deep, creating a strong anchor for the tree and giving it access to more water and nutrients. Think of it as renovating a house before you move in. You're making sure the foundation is solid and all the plumbing works before the new tenant arrives. Finally, they might add organic matter like compost. This stuff is black gold for soil. It improves drainage in heavy soils and helps retain moisture in sandy soils. It also provides a slow, steady diet of essential nutrients for the young tree. This meticulous preparation is an investment. A well-prepared plot of land will support healthy, productive cherry trees for 20 to 30 years. It's a lot of work up front, but good farmers know that the secret to a great cherry starts long before the fruit. It starts with the ground itself. Planting a modern cherry orchard isn't about a farmer with a shovel and a prayer anymore. Oh no. Today, it's a high-tech operation that would impress an engineer. Precision is the name of the game. Farmers use GPS-guided tractors to lay out the orchard in perfectly straight, evenly spaced rows. Why the obsession with straight lines? It's not just about looks. This precision layout makes everything that comes later, irrigation, spraying, and especially harvesting, vastly more efficient. Every inch of land is optimized for maximum productivity and ease of care. It's like designing a kitchen for a professional chef. Everything has its place for a reason. The planting machines themselves are marvels of agricultural engineering. These aren't just simple diggers. A modern mechanical planter can do several jobs at once. As it moves down the pre-plotted GPS line, it can. Media Group, mechanical planter digging furrow in cherry orchard, close-up of machine digging soil row at stock at distribute_equally, dig a furrow to the exact right depth, place the young tree, called a whip, into the soil, and then gently push the dirt back around the roots. Some advanced planters can even lay down irrigation lines at the same time. This reduces labor costs and ensures that every single tree is planted under identical conditions, giving the entire orchard a uniform start in life. The choice of tree is also a critical scientific decision. Farmers don't just plant any old cherry tree, they use saplings that have been grafted. This means the top part of the tree, the scion, which produces the desired cherry variety like a Bing or a Rainier, has been attached to the bottom part, the rootstock. The rootstock is chosen for specific traits like Media Group, rootstock cherry trees in nursery, labeled cherry tree saplings showing traits at stock at distribute_equally, disease resistance, drought tolerance, or controlling the size of the tree. This allows farmers to build a custom tree perfectly suited to their specific soil and climate conditions. It's the ultimate in agricultural customization. This technological approach continues after planting. Drones might be used to fly over the young orchard using special cameras to assess the health of each individual tree. This data can spot problems like nutrient deficiencies or irrigation issues long before the human eye could. By combining GPS, advanced machinery, and data analysis, farmers are creating smart orchards. This isn't about replacing the farmer's knowledge, it's about augmenting it. It allows them to make better decisions, use resources more wisely, and ultimately grow more and better cherries for all of us. Once our high-tech orchard is in the ground, we have to keep those trees happy. And a happy tree is a well-fed and well-watered tree. Providing water or irrigation is a science. Too little water and the fruit will be small and the tree stressed. Too much water and you risk root rot and can even cause the cherries to split open on the tree. The goal is to deliver the right amount of water at the right time directly to where it's needed most, the root zone. This is where modern irrigation technology really shines, especially drip irrigation. Drip irrigation is the gold standard in cherry orchards. Instead of spraying water everywhere where much of it can evaporate or run off, a network of tubes runs down each row of trees. At the base of every tree, small emitters release water slowly, one drop at a time. This method is incredibly efficient, using up to 50% less water than older methods like flood irrigation. More importantly, it delivers water directly to the roots, keeping the soil moisture at a consistent, optimal level. Farmers use soil moisture sensors to know exactly when and how much to water. It's a precision delivery system for the tree's most vital resource. Now, for the food. Fertilizing is all about giving the trees the right nutrients at the right stage of their growth. Just like a growing teenager needs more calories than a toddler, a tree's nutritional needs change throughout the season. In the spring, when the tree is waking up and pushing out leaves and flowers, it needs a good dose of nitrogen to fuel that vigorous growth. Farmers will often apply a nitrogen-rich fertilizer to give the trees a strong start. This is a critical meal that sets the stage for the rest of the season's performance. As the season progresses and the fruit begins to develop, the tree's diet changes. It now needs more potassium, which is crucial for fruit size, color, and sugar content. Think of potassium as the finishing spice. It helps convert all that leafy green growth into the delicious, sweet fruit we're waiting for. Many modern orchards use a technique called fertigation. This clever term means they inject liquid fertilizers directly into the drip irrigation system. This allows them to feed the trees a little bit at a time, exactly when they need it, which is far more effective than just dumping a pile of dry fertilizer on the ground once a year. If you want great cherries, you have to be willing to make some cuts. Pruning is the art and science of strategically cutting away parts of the cherry tree, and it is absolutely essential work. An unpruned cherry tree will grow into a tangled mess of branches and leaves. It will produce a lot of small, poor-quality fruit because the tree's energy is spread too thin. The primary goal of pruning, which is usually done in the late winter when the tree is dormant, is to create a strong structure and open up the canopy. It's kind of like giving the tree a haircut and a good set of bones. A key reason for pruning is to improve sunlight exposure. Cherries need sun. Sunlight is what powers photosynthesis, the process that creates the sugars that make cherries sweet. By thinning out the branches, pruners ensure that sunlight can penetrate deep into the tree's canopy, reaching all the developing fruit, not just the ones on the outside. This leads to more evenly ripened fruit with better color and higher sugar content. An open canopy also improves air circulation, which is vital for disease prevention. Fungal diseases love damp, stagnant air, and a well-pruned tree is their worst nightmare. There are different pruning systems, each designed to shape the tree for a specific purpose. A common method for sweet cherries is the central leader system, where a single main trunk is encouraged to grow straight up, with scaffold branches radiating out like a Christmas tree. This creates a strong, pyramid-like structure. For modern, high-density orchards, farmers are adopting new systems like the upright fruiting offshoots or Kim Greenbush. These systems are designed to create shorter, more compact trees that are easier and safer to prune, spray, and, most importantly, harvest. They are essentially creating a fruit wall for maximum efficiency. Pruning is not a one-time job, it's an ongoing conversation with the tree. In addition to the main winter pruning, farmers will often do a lighter summer pruning. This can help control the tree's size and remove any vigorous upright shoots, we call them water sprouts, that shade the developing fruit. It takes a skilled hand and a good eye to know which branches to cut and which to leave. Every cut is a decision that will affect the tree's health and the quality of the harvest for years to come. It's honestly one of the most skillful jobs in the orchard. Every delicious cherry begins its life as a delicate, beautiful flower. The arrival of cherry blossoms in the spring is a spectacular sight, turning entire orchards into clouds of white and pink. But for the farmer, it's a time of nervous anticipation. This is the most critical and vulnerable stage in the entire process. Each one of those flowers is a potential cherry, but only if it gets pollinated. Cherry trees are not self-pollinators, they need help. The pollen from one cherry variety has to be transferred to the flower of another compatible variety. This is a job for the orchard's most important employees, bees. To get the job done, farmers bring in reinforcements. They rent thousands of honeybee hives and place them throughout the orchard just as the blossoms begin to open. The bees get to work, flying from flower to flower, collecting nectar and inadvertently transferring pollen as they go. The weather during this short bloom period is absolutely critical. If it's too cold, wet, or windy, the bees won't fly, and pollination won't happen. A farmer can do everything else right, but a few days of bad weather during bloom can devastate the entire year's crop. It's a high-stakes waiting game. Once a flower is successfully pollinated, the magic begins. The petals fall away, and a tiny green nub starts to form at the base of the flower. This is the beginning of a cherry. Over the next 60 to 90 days, this tiny fruit will go through a rapid growth cycle. It starts as a hard, green pellet, slowly increasing in size. During this stage, the pit inside the cherry hardens. The tree pumps water and nutrients into the developing fruit, fueling its growth. The farmer's job now is to protect this precious cargo from pests, diseases, and birds. The final stage is the most dramatic. In the last couple of weeks before harvest, the cherries go through a final swell. They stop growing in size and start pouring all their energy into developing sugar and color. The green fruit will transform, seemingly overnight, into a pale yellow, then pink, and finally, that deep, rich red or golden yellow we recognize. The sugar content measured in bricks skyrockets. The farmer will walk the rows every day, tasting the fruit, testing its firmness and sugar levels, waiting for that one perfect moment when the cherry is at its absolute peak of flavor. When it comes to harvesting fresh sweet cherries, the big beautiful ones you buy in the produce aisle, there is simply no substitute for the human hand. This is not a job for a machine. Why? Because sweet cherries are incredibly delicate. They bruise easily, and their stems, which must remain attached for a longer shelf life, can be torn off. A skilled picker can gently twist and pull the cherry stem and all from the branch without damaging the fruit or the spur it grew on. That little spur is where next year's cherry will grow, so protecting it is vital for future harvests. The harvest season is a frantic, all-hands-on-deck operation. Pickers, often working in teams, move through the orchard with ladders and picking buckets strapped to their chests. It's physically demanding work, often starting at dawn to take advantage of the cool morning temperatures when the fruit is firmest. A good picker develops a rhythm, their hands moving with practice, speed, and precision, selecting only the cherries that are perfectly ripe. They can judge ripeness by color, size, and even the feel of the fruit. This selective harvesting ensures that only the best quality fruit makes it into the bucket. The care doesn't stop once the cherry is off the tree. Pickers gently place the cherries into their buckets, not drop them. When a bucket is full, it's carefully emptied into a larger bin, called a lug, which will be transported from the orchard. Even this transfer is done with care to minimize bruising. The goal is to treat each cherry like a fragile egg. This gentle handling is what separates a premium, top-dollar cherry from one that will end up in a can of pie filling. It's a labor-intensive process, but it's what quality demands. This manual approach allows for multiple passes through the same orchard. Not all cherries on a tree ripen at the same time. A picking crew might go through the same rows 2 or 3 times over a week or two, each time selecting only the fruit that has reached peak maturity. This ensures a consistently ripe and delicious product for the consumer. While it is more expensive and slower than machine harvesting, for the fresh market sweet cherry, the quality, precision, and care provided by the human touch are, for now, irreplaceable. Now for tart cherries, the kind destined for pies, juices, and dried snacks, the story is completely different. Here, efficiency and volume are king, and the star of the show is a magnificent piece of equipment, the mechanical shaker. These machines are a marvel of brute force and clever design. A shaker rolls up to a tree and extends a powerful hydraulic clamp that grabs onto the trunk. Then, with a controlled, high-frequency vibration, it shakes the entire tree for just a few seconds. The ripe tart cherries, which detach from their stems more easily than sweet cherries, rain down from the branches. But where do they all go? They don't just fall on the ground. The shaker is part of a 2-piece system. On either side of the tree row, there are machines with large, inverted umbrella-like catching frames. Before the shaking begins, these frames extend and meet under the tree, creating a soft surface to catch the falling fruit. As the cherries rain down, they land on the canvas and are funneled onto a conveyor belt. This conveyor carries the cherries past a large fan, which blows away any leaves, twigs, and other debris, before depositing the clean fruit into a massive bin filled with cold water. This water bath is a critically important step. The cold water immediately begins to cool the cherries down, which is essential for preserving their quality. It also cushions their fall into the bin, preventing bruising. From the moment they are shaken off the tree, these cherries are on a fast track to the processing plant. A single mechanical shaker can harvest dozens of trees in the time it would take a hand crew to pick just one. For the vast acreages of tart cherries in Michigan, this technology is what makes the industry economically viable. The advantages of mechanical harvesting are speed and cost-effectiveness. It allows a small crew to harvest a huge amount of fruit in a very short amount of time, which is crucial because the harvest window for tart cherries is very narrow. However, this method is too rough for the delicate sweet cherries sold fresh. The shaking can cause bruising and detaches the stems, which drastically reduces their shelf life. So the choice between hand and machine is not about which is better overall, but which is the right tool for the right job. A perfect example of form following function in the world of agriculture. Once the cherries leave the orchard, their journey is far from over. They are rushed to a nearby packing or processing facility, and speed is of the essence. For fresh sweet cherries, the first stop is the hydro cooler. The bins of hand-picked cherries are submerged in or drenched with near-freezing water. This process, called hydro cooling, rapidly brings the core temperature of the fruit down. Removing this field heat is the single most important step in slowing down the ripening process and preserving the cherry's freshness, firmness, and shelf life. A warm cherry is a decaying cherry. After their cold bath, the cherries are ready for the sorting line. They are gently fed onto a series of conveyor belts that move them through the packing house. The first stop is often a cluster cutter, a machine that uses a series of blades to carefully separate any clumps of cherries into singles. Then, the real high-tech magic happens. The cherries pass under electronic sorters. These machines use high-speed cameras and computer algorithms to analyze every single cherry for size, color, and defects like splits or soft spots. Any fruit that doesn't meet the strict quality standards is automatically removed by a gentle puff of air. The cherries that make the grade are then sized and sent to the packing stations. Here, workers, or sometimes robotic arms, carefully pack the gleaming fruit into plastic clamshells or bags. the kind you see at the grocery store. This final packing is done with care to present the fruit attractively and protect it during its final journey. The packages are weighed, labeled, and then moved into a cold storage room, kept at just above freezing, to await shipment in refrigerated trucks to distribution centers and supermarkets all over the country, and sometimes, the world. For tart cherries, the process is different. Since they are destined for processing, they are typically pitted right away. The cherries are run through machines that use tiny plungers to push the pits out with incredible speed and accuracy. From there, they can be canned in syrup for pie filling, individually quick frozen for year-round use by bakeries, pressed into juice concentrate, or dried to become the tart and chewy snack we all know. No matter the path, the goal is the same: to capture that fleeting moment of perfect ripeness and deliver it, in one form or another, to your table.